Peace and blessings, collective. It's your girl Hadidah here at This Red Tank, Yoni Love Herbals. I hope that this video is finding you well and in good spirits. It's early in the morning again on our day 2 of the self-care talk and morning chat that we're going to be having here on the channel. Today, during my meditation, I was deeply hit. I'll say the word hit. I was deeply hit by this thought about trauma, about releasing and healing the trauma during our self-care journey. And I think that this came up for me because this past weekend, when everyone was enjoying their holidays and everyone was seeing loved ones, your girl was laying and wrestling with an asthma attack, wrestling with a sinus infection in the lungs and in the head and the whole 9 yards. And it was not until I got a chance to look back on the whole cycle of illness that I go through as far as with my asthma and with my sinus infections. It was not until I got a chance to go back and look at how those illnesses always come that I realized that, like I mentioned yesterday, the illnesses of asthma, of womb illnesses, of bronchitis, of whatever the heck is out there that we might be dealing with, a lot of times comes from the trauma that we literally are bringing up. So in the process of me healing myself this weekend and drinking the teas and, taking the herbs and doing the breathing exercises and really working on the root cause of what asthma comes from, I realized it was the first time that a bell went off for me, that I realized literally the reason why my asthma and my congestion comes around at the times when I start to bring up and release the trauma is it's literally something that's been suffocating me. It's literally something that's living inside my lungs that I'm not able to get out, to cry out, to scream out, to talk about and get out. I haven't been able to deal with those things. So the way that my body registers that trauma is asthma. The way that my body registers that trauma is a sinus infection. And y'all are probably like, okay, so you sitting here telling us about, your health or whatever and how you're dealing with that. What's the point, Hadidah? The point is during the self-care journey, I want you to ask yourself, what ailments, what symbolic illnesses come up during the times when you're going through the highest stress, during the times when you're having traumatic experiences in your relationships or traumatic experiences in life in general, because trauma comes and goes, right? And sometimes we think that the relationships that we have, sometimes we think that the people we talk to, sometimes we think that the small encounters that we have with friends or family or arguments or whatever may be happening in life, whether they're positive or negative, right? Because they could be positive, quote unquote, but still leave a energetic and spiritual residue on us. Sometimes we think that those things are processed. I thought that the trauma that I was dealing with from my family and issues that I had experienced in my past were dealt with. And it was not until this final time that I had gotten sick for the 3rd time in 6 weeks. I've never dealt with my asthma to that point. The 3rd time in 6 weeks that I realized, okay, it's something to this trauma. The trauma and the illness is something to the trauma, and it's also something to the ailments that I keep on getting around the time when I'm healing the trauma. What I want to say to you is, if you suffer with asthma, if you suffer with fibroids and endometriosis or any other womb ailment, if you suffer with cancer, if you suffer with chronic yeast infections, pay attention to what's happening in your life around the times when those outbreaks come, and B, pay attention to, sorry y'all, I literally had a call come in. All right, so back to what I was saying. A, pay attention to the times around which those ailments come and they register in your body. And then B, pay attention to what you have to do to get rid of it. for me, I literally was like, before I realized that my asthma and my breathing ailments were coming in high stress situations. Now, wait, first of all, okay, let me finish that first thought. I'm having a Gemini moment, and you know, these sessions that I'm doing are uncut, right? I'm not doing any editing or anything in those. So let me finish my first thought and then I'll get to the next one. The medications that you take, the ways that you have to get rid of the symptoms that you're feeling is a clear indication of where the root causes of whatever you're feeling is coming from. For example, I literally said that I'm going to just carry around my nebulizer with me 24/7 because before I realized that the issues that I was experiencing on a constant basis with my breathing and with the sinus infections that were coming up was directly related to my trauma, I was thinking that I was just being hit by all kind of stuff in my atmosphere 24/7. I was thinking that, oh, it's because of the weather change. Oh, it's because of, you know, me coming back from being overseas. And then I realized, no, it's not. It's actually because of the trauma that's coming to the surface. So if you got to pump your nebulizer, if you got to take your cancer medications, if you got to get a surgery every couple of months for the fibroids and cysts, it's a clear indication that most likely during those times that you were taking whatever medication or whatever procedure that you got to do to heal yourself in that moment, it's a clear indication that you just went through a traumatic situation. And what I want to say to you also is while you're wrestling with this shit in the middle of the night, because baby, you're going to be wrestling. When you reach the realization that the stress, that the trauma, that the emotions that you haven't been able to digest, that you haven't been able to go through and work through fully by yourself, that you thought you dealt with, but you haven't dealt with, when you realize that this stuff is at the root of the reason why you've been being sick, it's another wave of shit that you about to deal with. And the second wave of shit that you about to deal with, and excuse my French for cursing, but that's exactly what it is. It literally stinks and rots inside of us like shit. The second wave of stuff that you about to deal with is how to wrestle with it in the middle of the night. Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes the people that you expect to be there to help you through the traumatic situations, the people that you expect to be able to call in the middle of the night, the people that you expect to be that soft, squishy place for you to run and to get a hug, they're going to be the very ones that's going to be unpresent, unavailable, not around when you're going through your deepest and your darkest times. Now, we could go straight into victim mentality and be like, you know what? They don't love me. Why don't nobody love me? I never had no support. Or we could take the place of power. We could take the place of accountability and say, you know what? They're not around, but they're not around because this time it's not meant to be soft and squishy. This time it's meant to come fully up and out of the surface. When somebody gives you a hug, what do? They provide you a way to release that emotion at that time and at that moment. But most of the time when somebody comes and gives you an emotional support in the midst of your trauma, they are encouraging you to stop crying. Pay attention. Think back. Think back at the times when you had a rough moment and somebody gave you a hug. They're like, oh, sis, I know. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you don't got to cry. Stop crying. Stop crying. They want to soothe in that moment. And not that that's not what we need in that moment, that hugging is what we need. But what I'm trying to tell you is in that moment when they hug you, in that moment when they embrace you, in that moment when they tell you to stop crying, in that moment when they tell you to be strong, in that moment when they tell you I'm here for you, and they provide whatever that support is, whoever it may be, because the universe will send you people, even though it might not be the people that you expected to be on your team, the universe will send you people during your healing session, right? So when those people come and they give you the emotional support that you're looking for and that you need in that moment, I'm going to tell you that at that very instant when they supply that emotion to you, it helps you to suppress that emotion that was on its way coming up. It was building up in your throat. It started to be a knot. Next thing you knew, it ended up in your chest and in your eyes and in your face, and you had the ugly cry going on, and you was crying and you was getting it out. In the midst of that, they came and they told you it's going to be all right. And you said, you know what it is. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And then bam, it shut down the tears. But in the midst of getting that support, in the midst of getting that help, in the midst of getting that encouragement, what they also did was prevented the full process of healing to take place. So I'm not saying don't go run to your girlfriends. I'm not saying don't look for a soft place to land when you're going through trauma, because we all need it. A lot of times we need it in that moment. But what I am saying is when you get down like I did to the moment where you realize that your trauma, that your past relationships, that the crap that you've been carrying for years that you haven't been able to work out by yourself, when you get down to that place where you realize that those emotions are still there and they are the reason why the ailments are becoming so profound inside your body and literally suffocating you, or literally taking full habitats. They forming full habitats inside of your womb. And I'm using that word habitats because it's literally like a creature that just gets in there and stays in there. The fibroids, the endometriosis, the stuff that they can't wrap their minds around in the medical field about where it comes from. Tell me a doctor that figures out what a fibroid exactly is and how to solve it other than surgery. Tell me a doctor, a Western doctor, who has an idea of how to heal it. I'm going to tell you that there is none. The only place that you're going to find real help in assistance in healing your womb and those kind of traumatic ailments is on the naturopathic side. And that's because you're going to be dealing with the physical ailments, but you're going to be dealing with all the other crap that comes along with it. So getting back to my point, though, the reason why these emotions become so profound inside of us, and the reason why you got to get prepared for that second wave, is because now it's going to be a moment where you won't have to wrestle in the middle of the night and figure out a way that you can heal that part of you that is raw, that's open, and that's being exposed. And I'm going to tell you, when it comes down time for the Most High Spirit, whoever you believe in, Creator, Allah, Jesus, Buddha, whoever, when it comes down time for that higher power to start working on you, there is nothing you could do to turn it off. That's what they call the tower moment. When everything in your life feels like it's burning down. When everything in your life feels like there is no other place and no other way for you to seek help and to get out of this moment that you in. When the Most High figures out that now is the time, is nowhere you can turn to get solace and to get help. I don't care who comes to talk to you. I don't care who gives you support. I don't care what people you look at for inspiration. I don't care what meditation you try to do. Baby, it's going to come up and it's going to come all the way out. And when that happens, it's going to be a season of carrying your nebulizer. It's going to be a season of going to the doctor directly. And am I trying to speak ailments on people's lives? No. I don't want that to seem like that's what this is, but I'm giving you a warning sign, because I literally just came through a season where I had to constantly walk with my nebulizer. I'm not talking about the little handheld albuterol inhaler that you do. I'm talking about the kind that you hook up to your face and you got to have full breathing treatments for a half an hour. I had to walk with that sucker. Why? Because the trauma, the ailments, the sadness, the depression, the trauma from losing loved ones, the past reality of family issues and all of this crap came up to the surface, and it rolls up in my chest, it rolls up through my mouth, it rolls up in my head. I had a consistent ongoing headache. I had the sore throat. I had the compression in my chest. I couldn't breathe. It was coming because it was time for it to come to the surface and to get out. And until it's fully out, you want to look like you got an asthma attack. You're going to look like you got a cold. You're going to look like you got these fibroids that won't stop growing. You're going to look like you got endometriosis. You're going to look like all of these different things. But I'm here to tell you that when you finish getting it out, when you work through that trauma, when you work through those ailments, when you work through those situations, and I'm talking about the ailments on the energetic and the spiritual side, doing the shadow work, not just on the physical side, not just pumping that inhaler and going on about our business, but when you literally lay flat on your back like I did for 6 days in a row for 3 different times in a 6-week period, you want to realize, oh, okay, the real work is being done. So this is a moment where I want to encourage you. If you're in your season right now of the second tidal wave, if you're in your season right now of going through the hard, rough patches, drop down below in the comment box to me what things you have been doing to help yourself triumph over these times, or what things you are looking forward to being able to heal, if you want to share, that is going to allow you to be able to take your self-care journey that much deeper. We could do all the self-care we want on the surface. We could buff our skin. Like, part of my self-care regimen has been getting my face and my skin together. We could do all the buffing of our face we want to. We could do all the perfuming of our face, of our body, that we want to. We could do all the beautification and putting on the makeup and, slaying the eyebrows and the eyelashes and everything else that we want to. But baby, at a certain point, there is no more hiding underneath the cover. The shit gotta be ripped off. And coming through this Scorpio season, I know it's a whole lot of people out here just like me who have come through a season of ripping the band-aids and ripping the cover that we had on us all this time, ripping it off. Scorpio is an energy in a season of death and rebirth. And when you going through these moments, you literally feel like you about to die. And if you ain't about to die, you real close to it. I love y'all, collective. I love this community that we have built here on this red tent. If you have not already, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be coming to y'all every single morning with my thoughts, with the things that Spirit is dropping down on me as I'm doing this self-care journey. We got to do our self-care beyond the surface. We got to take this self-care journey down into the deep core in order for the beauty that's inside of us to radiate through us. And therefore, all the outside beautification that we spend so much time doing, we won't really need to do, because we're going to be so satisfied with ourselves on the inside that it's going to glow towards the outside, and makeup is going to become something of the past. Imagine a world where makeup went out of style because there was so many people that was walking around just naturally glowing and naturally beautiful, naturally with highlights on their cheeks. You think it ain't possible, baby? I'm about to show you. You want to know how I'm about to show you? How I'm about to do the self-care work and the self-care journey that it's going to take, right? For me to get to the place where my skin, where my heart, where my mind, where my spirit is radiating. It's radiating and is no longer carrying the wears and tears of life on it, okay? I love y'all. Down below, I am going to be dropping a worksheet. Click the link below. Not a worksheet, but like a little free handout to help you on your self-care journey. Click down below so that you can get access to it. It's going to take you to a link for you to be able to get it free. It's free. I'm not charging, but get it, because it's something that I want to give y'all some tools and some ways to be able to work through this self-care, this self-healing, this self-love journey that I'm on. And then hopefully, you're challenging yourself to also be on. And then come and check out tomorrow's talk, because baby, trust me, I'm going to have something that Spirit don't drop down on me. Okay, I love y'all. This video is getting long. Peace. Until next time.